Okay. All right, guys, thanks for being on this evening. And for those of you that are going to watch this recording, tonight we're going to do a little training about ways to maximize your potential income and earning. And it's basically just by learning the ins and outs of your back office and some of the lingo that we use. And I'm going to show you some slides, which is the first time I've ever done this. I'm getting fancy. So I am just going to share my screen, and I will go through a little PowerPoint here. And if we have any questions at the end, or if you have questions as we go, that's totally fine as well. So let me do this real quick. Great. Oh, please. Sorry, it was right there and then it went away. Oh, here we go. All right. Sorry, guys. I practiced this earlier and it seemed to go much smoother. It's like not giving me my PowerPoint. Maybe I can do it this way. Can you see this? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, sorry, guys. Okay. So if you have your computer or anything in front of you, it might be easy for you to follow along with what I'm doing in your back office. So if you just want to log in to your teambeachbody.com with your login information, and then go to the coach tab, and you'll see the different things that I'm talking about here. Okay, the first thing that we're going to talk about is legs. You have two legs in your business, just like we have two legs on our body, a left leg and a right leg. It makes total sense. One of those legs is going to be considered your strong leg, and one your weak leg. And this is different for different people. So my strong leg might be different from Megan's, which might be different from somebody else's on our team. So it's not that left is always weak and right is always strong. It just kind of depends on where your placement is underneath your upline and where they put you on their leg. So you can figure this out pretty easily depending on how new you are in the business. So if you are brand new, you might have a hard time figuring this out because you might not be able to see the other coaches underneath of you just yet, because there might not be anybody else added. So I'm going to show you a couple different things here. So your strong leg, you'll be able to see in your back office, which I will show you in a second, because you will see coaches underneath that leg that you don't necessarily know who they are. They are not people that specifically signed up with you personally through your link. So you'll be able to see them, but you'll know, like, I don't know that person. So that's your strong leg. There are going to be people who sign up in your downline, in your organization, and are placed over there underneath you on that leg, although they are not your personally sponsored. So people will continue to build under there as people add into our organization. And as I have coaches that add on that side, and then they add other coaches. So you will continue to see that strong leg grow, but what is considered your weak leg will not do anything without you. So that's up to you to build out that weak leg. And that is what prevents us from being a pyramid scheme. You have to do your job and you have to work. You cannot sit back and expect to earn this extra income or income based off of just what other people are doing. So you can build up your weak leg with your personally sponsored coaches, whether they be just for the account or those that want to work the business. All right, so here's how you can see what I'm talking about. So if you go, you're under that coach tab, and then you go to my business, and if you go to my downline, and then you're going to click over here on graphical genealogy. This is one way to look at it, and I kind of like this way because it really truly, like, you can see left and right. Like, this makes sense to me when I look at it visually, because that's the type of person that I am. So I can tell pretty quickly by looking at this which is my strong and which is my weak, because I signed up my husband under me in order to make myself go Emerald. So he is my personally sponsored coach. He's the very first coach over there on the left-hand side. And over on the right-hand side is a coach who I do know her, but she is not my personally sponsored coach. She is someone that Molly added after I joined. So I became a discount coach before I started actually coaching. So she was adding people, and those people were adding people for 4 months before I even knew what was going on back here or knew what this looked like. So my strong leg was already built out fairly nicely for me when I started, to coach, because there had been a lot of other people starting to do this, after I signed on as a discount coach in October, even though I didn't start actually coaching until February. So your tree will look like this. It's some version of this. And even if you only have people over on your strong or your weak, only on your strong, you will build them out over onto your weak leg. So you can see over here on the left, the only people that are going to be on the left are my personally sponsored coaches and their coaches. So I hope I'm not breaking up too much on you guys here. So that's just, you can kind of see what that looks like. So, and I just explained this in talking, but just so people have it on the slides too. All right. So one thing about this is if you're not sure, if you can't tell by looking at yours, because there are not people that have been added after you are new enough that's not the case, check with your coach, because we know where you are, whether you're, which is your strong and which is your weak leg. So you will want to, to check and see before you start signing up coaches, because there is some strategy to this, particularly if you're thinking of adding a spouse or a family member or someone as a coach or as a coach account that you might have some control over later down the road. So this is important, knowing what your strong leg is and what your weak leg is, because this is how we can earn money. So this is the other way, aside from earning commission on products, that we actually can make money. And this is by earning what's called Team Cycle Bonus. And you are eligible to do this once you are an Emerald coach. And Team Cycle Bonus is $14 per cycle for Emerald coaches and $18 for Diamond coaches. And the way you earn a Team Cycle Bonus is each time the volume on your strong leg reaches 200 and the volume on your weak leg reaches 100. So anytime they can take away 200 points from your strong leg and 100 from your weak and still have something left over, then that's a cycle. And you can cycle and cycle and cycle. I mean, there's a cap, but I don't think anybody on this team is hitting that cap. So I think it's like, I don't know, like 96 times a day or something, or 250 times a week. It's something like, a lot. So when we talk about volume, we are talking, so not any, but a lot of products, most products, along with the monetary value, they also have a volume point value, and they're not necessarily the same thing. But there is volume points that are associated with products, and you accumulate volume by anything in your downline that is sold and that has volume associated with it. So not your personal volume, but anything that happens on in your downline, your right or your left, then you benefit and you accumulate that volume as well. So that's kind of one of the things when we talk about, like, once someone signs on as a coach with you, you no longer earn commission off of them. So when they're Shakeology, cycles every month, we don't earn commission off of that anymore as a coach. But we do benefit from those volume points from their Shakeology, as well as anybody else that they have underneath of them, or any products that they sell, and so on and so on. Which is why your strong leg is just that, is strong, because there's all kinds of people over there that have signed up after you, and you are benefiting from that volume. But it's up to you over on your left-hand side to make it match. So it can, right-hand side can do all of this volume, 600, 700, 800, whatever. But if you don't have anything happening over on your left with your personally sponsored coaches, then you're not going to earn that additional money. Now, that's not to say, and I probably just said left because that's how my brain works, but your weak side. It might be your right side. It's just, that's how my brain works, because my left is my weak and my right is my strong. But now that's not to say that you're not also going to have coaches over on that strong side, because you do need a certain amount of coaches on both sides to rank advance. So for an emerald, you need one on your right side and one on your left side. So you're not necessarily, throwing all of your coaches over there on your weak side. But that is something to think about as you grow your business, is that you are going to want to stack a certain amount of it over there just to optimize the amount of times that you can cycle and the amount of volume that your team is building up. So, okay, so I just put this up here as an example of when you purchase something, when you send something, a link to other people to purchase, you can see that not only does it have a price, but it also has it says PV, so that's personal volume. So that's how much volume is associated with a 3-day refish kit at a coach discount price. You can also see down here that like the shaker bottle pack does not have any volume associated with that. So not everything has volume. Like I think like merchandise and clothing and things like that does not, but programs do, the supplements do, refresh obviously does, things like that. So you can see that. This is a way to view your volume. So under this same My Business tab, there's lots of stuff under there. You definitely want to like play around with the My Business tab, but you can click on My Volume and then literally just go over to the right and see My Volume, and you can see LV and RV, left volume and right volume. So you'll probably also be able to tell based on this which is your strong leg and which is your weak leg, because your strong leg is gonna start accumulating volume based on what other people are doing. So I mean, mine is very spotty because I'm not in a very like consistent place right now. And this was like a really terrible day for me to take some screenshots, considering we're looking at a -8 volume over on my weak side. And I just looked at that day, it was very strange. But you can see that there were some weeks where we had some things going on as a team. So that was exciting. And it will continue to be that way. So that's how you can view. Yeah, exactly. It does that. It goes ups and downs. And especially when we have a bunch of people sign on like at the very end of the month because they got paid, or the beginning of the month because they still have their whole paycheck, something like that. Popular times when people's, shake reships again and things like that, you'll see a spike in volume. So when we talk about signing up coaches and putting them either on your strong leg or your weak leg, depending on what you need in that moment, you have the ability to move those coaches around and put them before they sign up where you want them to be. So it's something you want to pay attention to. You don't want them to just haphazardly like fall where they fall. Now, we never know what a coach is going to do and who's going to turn out to be a rock star, a superstar, and who you thought was going to be incredible and like disappears off the face of the planet the next day. Because both of those things have happened to me. But you do want to, anticipate what you can and be as smart as you possibly can about placing your coaches. Now, you can, if someone, falls into the wrong spot, there's like a very small window in which you can submit a form to have them changed over, but you can't do it for very longer. So like if I had 2 Emerald coaches, 5 days, 2 Emerald coaches over on my, left-hand side, and I don't have any on my right, and an Emerald on my left and an Emerald on my right makes me Diamond, I can't go switching that other Emerald coach over. Like that ship has long since sailed. So you can't anticipate what's going to happen, necessarily with your coaches, but you can know that if you need one on your left and one on your right to be Emerald, you can make sure that that happens because you have control over whether your coaches go on your left side or your right side. And that's how you're going to maximize, again, that earning opportunity is by kind of, you need to have one on each side for Emerald. And for me, I also like, I don't know how other people do this, but I also kind of like play it safe a little bit in case one of my people, like paused or Shakeology for a month or 2 months or 3 months or canceled, then I'm going to lose my rank pretty quickly. So rather than like immediately stacking out that one side, I, put a couple people on either side just to pad it a little bit and make me feel better about that. But other people do things differently. So talk to your upline and your coach about, what is best for you. Especially if you're thinking about signing up a spouse account, because there are different ways to strategize that. And this is where you do that. So again, under that My Business tab, the very first thing is my preferred placement. And you can literally change it where it says position. You can change it to left or right. All right. So the first step and the first way that any of this really happens and any of this means anything to you is by actually going Emerald. So I think I've said it a couple of times here, but being an Emerald coach just means that you have one personally sponsored coach on your left leg and one on your right, and that's it. It does not matter if they are your mom and your cousin, if they are just in it for the discount, or if they are all-in coaches that want to work the business, a left and a right, and that's what it takes. And a lot of people do choose to sign up a spouse or a family member in order to make this happen. But I, talk to your coach about that as to whether or not that is a good financial decision for you, as to, how it's definitely something in the long run, or maybe not even long run, but if you're really serious about like working the business, and working it and earning money, it can really work to your advantage. But it also, if you're not doing that currently, it can also just be a way to suck money. So you just want to be smart about that. And I did it, and it has been good for me once I learned all of these things that I'm going over now. But I was a little bit premature in that, and I was just excited, and I wanted my first rank advancement, and it worked out, fine. And I'm drinking Shakeology, and it's not a big deal anyways. But I could have probably dug in a little faster and a little deeper and educated myself more in order to be utilizing his account in a better way than I was. But I just didn't know. I didn't go searching, and I didn't have the information. Well, the information was at my fingertips. I just didn't choose to seek it out. So also, who doesn't love this freeze frame? Michael Neiman, look at his face, does a really good visual video on earning team cycle bonus and that whole volume thing, and taking 200 away and 100 away, but it is definitely cheesy. He does it with like WWE wrestling dolls and things like that. But I did watch it, and it did click and kind of make some sense to me. So that is there for you too. And there's actually a lot of good training videos back there. Again, this is in your back office under that news and training tab. All right. And that, oh gosh, what have I done? All right, that's that. Now, how do I get back to you guys?
So just go to stop share screen at the top. You should have that option somewhere.
Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. It's like staring right at me in red. Stop share. Okay. Oh, hey. Oh, guys, other people jumped on.
I know.
Hi. Love it. Okay. Megan, any comments or follow-ups to corrections?
No, I think it was like 100% on point. Very helpful. The only thing that I would say is two things. So one, you can also, so between what you hear about most is Emerald and Diamond rank, but there is a rank in the middle called Ruby, which some people get to like before, like, and are there for a while. So it's like we forget about it, but it's there. So just keep in mind that when Kyla was saying Emerald cycle is $14, Ruby cycle $16, and the Diamond goes to $18. The key about Ruby is that if you go to Ruby and then Diamond, once you get to Ruby, you start getting this other bonus called a match bonus. And what that is because once you become a Ruby, you have 2 emeralds underneath of you. So you have 2 working coaches underneath of you for sure. And emeralds cycle. So when you're a Ruby, you get this match bonus, whatever they cycled. So for instance, if I had a coach cycle, so I think for Ruby it's 5%, but Diamond it's 10%. So like I had a coach cycle $96 last week. I got $960 from that. So that's another form of the residual through this, not just the bonus. And then the other thing I was going to say was, sorry, my son's yelling. The other thing I was going to say was what Kyla said. If it's not smart, talk to your upline before adding your spouse. If it's not smart, they will help you figure that out. But I will say that if you do add them and it still feels like it's like a little tough, that was my push. I added 2 people. I added my mom and my husband. That was my push to just work even harder. Like I wasn't going to sign them up and just have them. My mom was on Shake, so that was different. But I wasn't just going to sign Brian up also and pay for, $50 of something every month when I wasn't making enough. So it was an extra push. So just find like your motivation and your drive for that. You also later on down the line can use your spouse accounts to put orders under. So that helps too. So just that's something you have to individually talk to your sponsor on and figure it out. But no, everything else was great. Awesome.
What about questions?
Anybody? What?
So it can
They're upstairs on the, sorry.
Like a lot to digest. No, you're fine. It can be a lot to digest at first, and it still like might not entirely make sense, and that's totally okay. My hope is that through like PowerPoints and showing you where things are in the back office, you can start to play around with a little bit and see. It's not terribly difficult. It's just if this is not anything that you've ever like done before or been involved in, it's just a little foreign. That's all. So once you kind of like get used to the way things work and figure things out, it makes more sense. But like I said, I spent way too long not knowing this information, and not by anybody's fault but my own, that I just didn't like take my business seriously enough to really like dig in and find the information that I needed. So the hope is that and not that like Megan didn't say things like that, but like I said, I just wasn't, my brain was not wired in that way. So I really had to like just figure it out on my own.
I'll also say, guys, that it's really like, so I know there are people who this stuff just is like, it's their jam and they get it. And then there's other people who need to see it like 50 times to get it. So here's my thing. If this is your jam, know it. If it's not your jam, do you. And when I say do you, I mean your focus is your journey and sharing that journey. And that will lead you to the same results. It will lead you to building volume. It will lead you to bringing coaches on, which make you emerald, which help you get team cycle bonus and that type of thing. Don't stress if it's not your jam. Don't stress out about it right now and feel like this is something you need to know before you can move on like the next grade. It's not like that. But that's it. Nobody has any questions? No? Good.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Kyla. That was awesome.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Guys.
Let me end this recording. And yeah, I really appreciate all that.